At 6 o'clock, we'll start, call the meeting to order and say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amendments, we have 3 amendments to add to the council. 8G, work session for 6 p.m. Thursday, March 11th. 8H, the cigarette license for Dollar Tree. And we need to add 8I, the well rehab number 5. Other than that, that is all the amendments we need to do.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda with the so noted addition.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Review the minutes from January 21st, 2021.
I'll make the motion to approve the January 21st meeting minutes.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Accounts payable, I believe we have a correction before we get to council
Yes,
hostage.
Could we please remove check 35592 from the list, which would bring our total down to $37,649.05. As you can see, it's a typo.
It's in the right direction. Is there anything you want to talk about, Dean?
Yeah, those are all, everything's pretty routine. Payable in the amount of $37,649.05.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0-0. Public comments. Individuals may address the city council about any items of concern. Speakers must state their name and limit their remarks to 5 minutes. During this COVID pandemic, we've been trying to people contact the office for less contact. Brian, did you hear anything?
No comments for me.
Kim? Sounds good. Public hearings, number 6, none. Number 7A, water sewer shut off update. Kim?
Yeah, we've been working on them. We're not ready to bring the end result to you, but we have seen some progress with a couple of the properties. So people are really amenable once they're reached out to. So I'm hoping we can resolve a lot of that.
Perfect. Thanks, Kim. 7B, liquor license refund. Kim?
Okay, so I had Miranda prepare the on-sale costs for our establishments in town. We'd spoken before at a previous meeting about possibly removing some or refunding some of their license back. The reason I think this could be a prudent move if the council approves is that this fee is something that goes directly to the city. So it's a way we could give back to them. They could sell, the off sale could stay open, but the on sales were closed on and off, and it's been kind of a difficult go for them. So Miranda prepared a couple of different scenarios for you. We could go with a 6-month refund or a 9-month refund. She put their total liquor cost, license cost, and then what the resulting differences would be. Now that is through June 30th and July 1st, they will be ready for their next year of liquor license, because it goes from 7/1 to 6/30. So it's kind of up to you guys if you want to.
So this is 20.
This would be 20 to 21. So June 30th, or July 1st, 20 to June 30th, 21. So if we did the six,
And we already refunded them.
we refunded the beginning of last year off their old license.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So this would be June through, so 9 is next month?
This would be, if we did a 6-month refund, it would be July through December.
And 9 months, because they were close out.
9 months would be July through March.
From 20 to 21.
Mhm.
So basically, I ended up 6 months refund total would be $45.50. If we did it 9 months, it would be $72.75. So basically a difference of about $2,400 if we did a 6-month to a 9-month.
My thought of doing all 9 months is that they're still not open to 1 full capacity or 2 full hours. So I think that they're still in a pretty vulnerable position, is my opinion. So I would be in favor of the 9-month refund amount.
I also would be in favor of the 9-month refund. I think it's been difficult on all in general. That's something we can do. I just like to do that. And then want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we take city staff's recommendation on the 9-month refund for the on-sale liquor license costs.
I will second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. New business, 8A, administrative hearing, considered the Marx's request to dismiss ordinance violation. Just a couple of things before I pass it on to Matt. We'll stay focused on the noise orders only. And we'll hand it over to Matt, and then we'll let Officer Disbro speak, and then we'll let the Marxists speak, which I believe they are via Zoom.
Yeah, I could give a little brief history and maybe a little bit of the ground rules. Marxist, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, just a quick background. So an officer, it's Disbro. Disbro is here as well. So this has to do with the events of January 11th, 2021. There was a administrative penalty cited under our public nuisance ordinance, section 93.18, subpart G, which reads, no person shall participate in any party or other gathering of people giving rise to noise unreasonably disturbing the peace, quiet, or repose of another person. The administrative citation was issued to the Marxes, and then under section 10.98 of our city code, it deals with administrative penalties. And under subpart E, the Marxists have the right to contest the request for the penalty and have a hearing before the city council. And the city council may either draw the request for payment or renew the request for payment. That's basically what the scope of the hearing's about. So as the mayor said, we should generally limit the discussion to the events of that evening. And then Officer Disbro gave a little testimony on his report. Leo, should you mute maybe? Yeah, you'll get your chance to speak. Maybe it's a little bit better. We're getting a little bit of feedback with your mic on. Anyway, so we'll have the officer give a little testimony and discuss his report. Then the Marxists can respond. Council can ask questions. And then the decision again for council is whether to withdraw the administrative citation and penalty, or basically affirm it. And under the administrative ordinance, it does say that if the administrative penalty is paid, then no criminal charges will be initiated by the city for the alleged violation. And also, if council agrees to uphold the citation, the Marxes have the right to file something with Goodhue County District Court. That being said, if we could limit generally the scope of the hearing to the events of the night of January 11th, 2021. And I'll turn it over to Officer Disbrow.
Okay.
Good evening. So you guys want me to kind of give a synopsis of what happened then?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was on January 11th at 11:21 p.m. I was dispatched to 229 4th Street West for a noise complaint. The complainant was anonymous, but from her phone number, we knew which neighbor it was. And they reported that there's loud yelling and music coming from the Marx's residence. They stated that it was loud and then it got quieter. I had never responded there before personally, but I knew that it had been an ongoing issue between these neighbors, and we had responded there a total of 6 previous times for noise complaints in the last year. I reviewed the notes from some of the previous calls, and officers that responded either not heard anything coming from the home or had made contact with the home and just informed them of the complaint and asked them to keep it down. I responded to the house, and I went to there's a parking lot behind their address, I believe it belongs to the nursing home. So I parked back there, turned off my squad car, and stayed in the area there for about 10 minutes just to listen and make sure it wasn't like sporadic, it was continuous. So in the time I stayed there, I could continuously hear loud music coming from their detached garage and sporadic loud voices coming from the garage as well. So I then responded to the front side of the house on 4th Street West, made contact with them. When I got out of my squad car, I was able to hear the music coming from the garage in the street. And due to the violation and the previous times we've been out there, I decided to issue them the citation. So I wrote the citation before I made contact with them. I went up to the front door and there was no answer. Before I walked back to the garage down their driveway, I observed a male who I later identified as Eric Marks. Eric appeared to be intoxicated. I verbally confirmed who he was, and I informed him why I was there and informed him that I would be issuing a citation for the noise complaint. Eric became upset and belligerent and went back into the garage to contact Leia. And Leia came out with some of the other parties that were present, and they're all rather belligerent. And I had to be, Eric became verbally belligerent. There was an unidentified male there that was also belligerent and approached me several times and be told to step away from me. 2 friends that were there managed to get Eric and the unidentified male to go back into the garage, and I was able to speak with Leia about it. And I explained to Leia why I was issuing the citation and how we would respond there multiple times. Leia began asking about a decibel meter, and I explained that due to the language of the ordinance that I didn't need a decibel meter to issue them a citation. I explained the citation to them, and eventually Leia did take the citation. I explained to her that she continuously said that she did not agree with it. I explained to her that she could contact the city to appear before the city council to challenge it. Eric and the unidentified male came back outside and continued being confrontational, and having already issued the citation and made them aware of the complaint, and instead of further escalating, I decided at that time to leave. So that was when I left was about 12:20 a.m. And then 11 minutes later, I was dispatched back to the address because the complainant had called back and said that the music was back and louder than before. Because of how confrontational the people at the party were, I requested assistance from the Goodhue County Sheriff's Office. I arrived on scene with 4 deputies. First, before I made contact with them, I did go back to the parking lot again to listen, and I was able to hear the music was about the same as before, but now I could hear voices yelling. It sounded like it was coming from outside of the garage. So I responded to the garage with the sheriff's office, knocked on the door, and we were allowed to come in. The parties continued being verbally belligerent, and ultimately informed them that under the ordinance 9318G that we had the power to have the party disperse. Leia had continued asking about a decibel meter and had asked what would happen if they didn't leave, and I explained that they would be cited under that ordinance as well. And then the people that were present ended up leaving, and we cleared the scene, and we were not called back there again for the rest of the night.
Any questions for him?
Marcus? Marcus, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You guys decided the story on the incident on January 11th.
Sure, I understand that we are only speaking about that evening. However, I would like to give you a little bit of input on the neighbor that we have. We have lived here for 16 years. Our neighbor next door moved in next to us about 4 years after we had moved in. We were very cordial, and we exchanged Christmas gifts. Our children played together, and throughout the years, she has become a little bit, for lack of better words, a little bit on the crazy side. Our children can no longer play in her yard. They can't mess up the snow. Our neighbor will holler out of her top story window and tell our children to, excuse the profanity, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. She will be mowing her lawn and turn around and look at us and put the middle finger at us for absolutely no apparent reason. She is very unhappy with herself. We have not changed anything in our entertainment habits, in our company. There was one time this year in 2020, our children were out in our garage and the music was loud, and Eric and I were in the house. We told our kids to turn the music down, and at the same time, an officer appeared. So yes, that is one time that I will acknowledge that our music was loud. It was taken care of. But throughout the course of the time that we have lived next to this neighbor, during COVID, I don't know what has happened to her, but all of a sudden she is saying that we're loud. She will be sitting in the outside, in her grass, in the dark, listening to us. I don't know what to do. If I'm noisy, I will take full responsibility for that. I did submit a video that I uploaded onto YouTube with a decibel meter on it. It was not from the night in question. It was from another previous night that an officer had responded, and the decibel meter in the video shows that the noise level at the end of our driveway is a quiet whisper.
Leah, let's go back to the violation, the noise ordinance from January 11th. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing the administrative hearing, to hear your side of the story on January 11th only. So I gave you a little bit to speak about the past, so I just want to hear what your side is on the January 11th ordinance.
Sure, absolutely, thank you.
It was my birthday.
Yes, it was Eric's birthday, so we had friends over just like we do on any other special occasion. There was nothing different in the way that we were celebrating. There had been officers in the past sitting in the parking lot and approached us and said they didn't hear anything. I feel it is one officer that is different than the rest. Maybe the rest are just lenient. I don't know. I honestly feel we did nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. Yeah, of course, some of us maybe have been belligerent, but this is an ongoing issue that our neighbor has with us. So, of course, we were very upset in the situation, and I apologize for that.
I'm just getting sick of the cops being called on us for us doing nothing wrong.
And I do have a neighbor here with me, Dan Johnson, that would also like to speak. And Diane Pink, she submitted the letter for that, and she's also here to speak as well.
I would say they should only be able to testify if they were there at that party.
They were there.
Okay?
An officer there can see his face.
What was that?
Okay.
Dan
So
Dan
I-
Johnson was.
Yep, that's me speaking. So yes, that night, as what's been stated is that there was a few people that came out and were a little excited and agitated over the situation and the cops being called. The officer there will contest that I was the level-headed one and talked to him. We walked to the end of the driveway and we're talking as he was getting ready to leave. And honestly, standing at the end of the Marx's driveway, I could barely hear any music coming from the garage, which tells me that the music wasn't that loud. And honestly, if we're talking about a noise ordinance, if I'm sitting in my backyard around a fire pit at 11 o'clock at night and I'm talking and I got a neighbor across the fence that's upset with me, I've got a loud voice. My voice carries very well. She was going to hear me talk around the fire pit. So that means I'm at fault for just talking in my own backyard because my neighbor might be upset with me. We're just kind of wondering, where do we draw the line? I mean, I was there that night and I don't believe that it was that loud.
Okay, does Diane want to speak?
Well, man, sure, if you want to listen. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
here.
She's here. You were there on January 11th?
Yes, I was. And it wasn't that loud. I mean, I walk up from the driveway and I didn't hear the music until you opened the door. It's never been loud here. I mean, it's basically,
You've been here several times.
I've been here several times and the music's not that loud.
Okay, thanks for your guys' input, council. Any questions? We have two options that we can either withdraw the noise ordinance violations, or we can affirm the noise ordinance violation.
Well, after this round, thank you very much for responding. It sounds like it wasn't a great situation to walk into, and we always appreciate yours and the rest of our law enforcement dealings with residents in Zumbrota, whether on good terms or on bad, and whatever the situation arises. So thank you for keeping your head and doing your job. So greatly appreciate that. I think you did a great job documenting exactly why you were there, and you knew the background going in. So I appreciate that you already knew what to expect, and maybe did a little extra or were out there a little longer to affirm for yourself what the complaint really truly was. I guess from my perspective, I would say that we affirm this because of the behavior towards you more than anything. I think that's unacceptable. And it's not something I think that anybody should have to tolerate, to have belligerent individuals where you have to bring 4 other sheriffs as backup. That to me isn't not okay.
And if you took the time, and you sat there and you contemplated whether or not it was worth going up there and you made the call to go up there in the first place, then I feel that we should back you because that's why we have you. So in this case, on this individual circumstance with everything you have documented here, I'm leaning towards 100% behind you, so.
Want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to affirm the citation
From January 11th.
from January 11th.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Marks. Thanks for the input. Thanks, Officer Disbro. Thanks, Matt Rockney. 8B, purchase. Mike.
I put in the packet, the memo for purchase of a new truck. It's something different that we haven't done. We're going with the state bid, which is, we've never done that before. You get a lot of good prices on the state bid. This truck would be
for, every year we can turn in this truck with 75, only putting 7,500 miles on it, and they'll give us a new truck back for that. We won't put a plow on this truck. It's going to be a 3/4 ton truck instead of 1 ton truck, so we won't have the cost of the plow on this. I think the last regular cab pickup that we bought 6 years ago was for $28,184. It's a Fleet State bid for a 2021 F-250 Ford pickup from Sugarloaf Ford out of Winona. And I've attached the quote for that truck. Is there any questions?
I have a question. What truck is it replacing, or is it just in addition to, so you're
So
functional?
right now we have 02, 06, 08, a 13, and a 16. Any of the first three on the 02, 06, or 08, the 06 had transmission trouble quite a few years ago. They replaced transmission in it once. And the 08 is another truck that has had some transmission and engine trouble. So I think we're probably looking at replacing the 08 at this time.
Does that have a plow on it?
That does have a plow on it.
You don't want to plow on this one?
I don't think you can.
You
Can you?
don't want to plow?
It'll actually come with a plow. I mean, the options are laid out. It'll come with a plow package. But I think with our snow plowing the way we do it now, that loader does a lot of plowing. We don't need the plow truck on it, the plow on it. So that plowing has been hard on these pickups over the years. They just plowed a lot more of the streets than they should have.
And replacement schedule, this fits in there, and you have nothing else on it this year that needs to be purchased, or you have accounted for those things?
No, so these pickups typically are in a 12-year replacement. So we're way behind on the replacement, as you can see on those three trucks. And Brian and I have been working on the equipment, capital equipment plans, and we're just behind on it quite a bit.
And last question, what color is it going to be?
Red.
Is this program just through this Winona company? Does it through any other dealerships?
No, this is the only one we found that it was through Winona. There's quite a few cities that do it. Plainview just got on it, but some of the cities that have been on it have been on it for 10 years already. So it's been working quite well for them. We thought we'd try this once and see how it works for us.
If you get it and you don't have a plow on it, what do you think? Like, are you gonna be around that 7,500 miles in a year? Or?
We'll be really good with, yeah, especially without having to plow with it. We're gonna be just fine on the miles. Right now, Ronnie is driving the bucket truck around because the other truck shot. And and we're gonna let him have this new truck, and he can equip it with all the stuff he has for meters and for locates. And then we're gonna save on that bucket truck quite a bit.
Yep.
Is there any issues with service on that if it's from Winona?
No.
No.
Oh, we got,
We get it from Winona, we get it from the fleet. But does it come from,
it comes out of Winona.
even though it's the fleet contract? Got it. Got it. So you'd like a motion in the amount, or you want a motion for the vehicle?
For, it's $34,186. And if that option works, it's nice to stay with the program as long as that's working for us. It's, essentially we're buying the truck, but they're just allowing us to trade it back in every year
Sure.
and get a replacement out of it. Tax and tags, yeah.
So can we just then make a motion to purchase a new F-250 2021
2021, yep.
from Sugarloaf Ford in their fleet vehicle lease program? There's my motion, Kim, you got it?
Thank you.
Second? All in favor? Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Mike. Police chief, 8C, the LiDAR replacement.
Ooh, we get a presentation?
No, this is for the next thing. So I don't have a presentation on the LiDAR. The LiDAR unit, we recently, every year we have to have our radars checked and certified, and we get new certificates that the units are fully operational and accurate. And so they test all our squad radars as well as our handheld LiDAR, and the handheld LiDAR did not pass. And the reason why is the laser is off alignment. And he says, you know, it's a repairable thing if you want to put the money into a 12-year-old unit. He didn't recommend that we did so. And it is very old, very bulky. And the return ultimately, if we were to sell the unit, would be counterproductive to repair it because it's not worth much at its age. With that said, he had a suggestion, of course, of a unit that he also sells, which is great, but he also sells them to State Patrol and other agencies. It's a very good unit. It's actually quite reasonable. I think it's just a little over $2,000. And ultimately, we do have money that we can use out of our forfeiture fund to pay for it. We've got plenty of money to do that. Absolutely. And the thing is the LiDAR unit itself is used quite a bit by our officers. It allows us to do speed enforcement in different areas where, a car radar is not, it's not as capable. It's more flexible. We do utilize this thing, and it's very accurate, and we do have a need to maintain a handheld LiDAR.
Sounds good.
Any more questions, Chief?
Come on. We can't do all the work tonight, guys.
I'll make a motion to purchase the LiDAR machine for $1,925.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0.
That
You want to say right there, 2020 annual police report.
I was able to get the police report done in a timely fashion. If you had time to look at least the first 5-6 pages, that's very typical of what I've provided this council in the past. I show what kind of mileage is on our squad cars. You can kind of see what we put on per year on average on those vehicles. And I try to put a little just summary of what's happened over the year. We certainly had staffing changes in 2020, which affected almost half of the department, a good third of it. The one thing that we anticipated once the COVID-19 situation occurred is that our calls for service would actually drop because we might not be responding to as many medicals or some of the other proactive activities that would require you to, go out and for traffic stops and so forth. Just that type of stuff would be reduced. That was not the case. We have it is the largest amount of calls for service that the department's ever had in its history. And just compared to last year, it doesn't look like a lot, 4.45%. But when you look at it from when I started and I used the first year of 2015, because that was the first full year I was here, it's a 56% increase in calls for service, and that was in 2015. So what it's showing is that we are, in fact, much busier. I would say we're proactive, which helps with crime reduction, and that's important to the community, I believe, wholeheartedly. We want to be visible and accessible, and with that said, it just kind of shows the productivity of this department. As far as, trends or anything like that, we certainly get a lot of driving complaints. And naturally, because of where we're at, being that we're right off of US 52 and US 58, they go right through our town. We get a lot of driving complaints, but we also have a lot of transient crime, and I brought this up in the past. A lot of our criminal matters aren't necessarily residents of this community. They're people coming through our community with the purpose to commit crimes or have committed crimes, and we've discovered them because they decided to come to Zumbrota. And because we're proactive, we happen to engage those people. And our staff are competent to look for the signs and symptoms of a problem. And we try to find a way to make sure we take care of that issue. And so with that said, I would entertain any questions in regards. One thing I should mention, I did add more pages to this. I don't know if you all received that, but I provided source data in my annual report. Because usually what I would do is just give you all the numbers, and I would take the numbers from that data and put it in there in a more organized fashion, because the other one, it divides it up in different ways. But I included that just so that you'd have a better handle on what I'm giving you for information.
Thanks, Chief. Any questions for Chief?
Chief, that's a very detailed list.
So there's only 17 911 calls?
Not necessarily.
Like, that doesn't seem right.
You know, the problem is it depends on what the dispatcher puts the activity type as.
Okay.
And often those 911 calls, you don't know why they're calling 911. So that's the only thing that they have. And sometimes they're saying an open 911 and they don't know what it is. So they deem it as that.
So it's just one of the categories.
Correct.
If it didn't fit into one of these others.
Correct. So
I was like,
what we
don't
try
you
to
get one
make,
like about every day?
and that's what we try to do is, you know, the main activity type is what we're trying to reflect. Because we get a lot of assists also. And one thing my staff does is we have the ability to have a secondary activity type. We'll actually move that to a secondary if we remember to, and put a primary, let's say it's a driver all over the road type of situation, and it turns out to be a DUI. Well, it comes out as an assist. Well, if we leave it as an assist, you really don't know that we had a DUI arrest that took 4 hours to deal with.
Sure.
So we try to add that additional activity type so that number is accurately reflected rather than it being just an assist. So, but that's what these things do. A lot of these are 911 they started that way. So.
And council, I can get you a paper copy if you want a paper copy of this.
I'm just gonna ask, how many officers did we have in 2016 on staff?
In 2016, at that time, I believe we only had 4 yet.
Okay, and then how many do
And
we have
I think we might have been getting right into the SRO position, so we may have been at 5 actually. 2017 is when we.
Still your same officer count. I think your SRO came out of your original officer count. Your original SRO. Right?
I guess I'm not following.
So it would have still been 4.
Right, if you remove the SRO, it's 4.
But that SRO was also an officer split time,
Correct.
right?
In 16?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, they would have been at the school, because I believe that was,
It was still Gene, wasn't it?
because I remember when I came here, we did not have a school resource officer, and we did not have one in 15 also. And it was the 15-16 year, I think, is when we got a contract.
Got it.
So, so we would have had someone assigned to the schools predominantly, 75% of that person's time would have been there in 16. And I think in 17 is when we went to 24-hour coverage. And that's when we were able to add somebody to our staff.
I just was looking at, it's 1,000 more calls between 16 and 20. It's a lot of
Right.
calls.
It is. And that's something me and the city administrator have been discussing, how we're going to tackle this. There's a higher concentration of what's going on for everybody. So, because we're busier, and the community grows. So there's more things going on. I mean, we're all aware when I talk about that transient crime, there's how many cars coming through this community every day? 11,000 was it that DOT said? And that was 4 years ago? That's not going to change. So.
Thanks, Chief.
Officers, great job and all their hard work every day.
Absolutely. All right.
Thanks, sir. 8E, new EDA member, Mr. Ryan.
Good evening. So the EDA by its bylaws has for citizens at large members, they are 6-year terms. And citizens at large are allowed 2 consecutive terms. Our most recent citizen at large, Mr. Bill Eberhardt, had reached the end of his term limit. So beginning in January, we have an open position. We do have a volunteer, Ms. Danny Dufresne, and she has volunteered to join the EDA. The EDA has motioned to accept this and recommends an appointment to the EDA for her.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan. Any questions for Ryan? Any motion?
Do that and sign on EDA. Chris or Bob?
Yeah, I will. You agree? Make a motion to accept Danny DeFree on the EDA board.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Danny, for joining EDA. 8F, resolution in support of LGA. Mr. Bryan.
Yeah, I received this through the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities. They're hosting LGA Advocacy Week. This resolution shows unity with other Greater Minnesota cities and highlighting the importance of LGA. This resolution will be sent to our local representative and senator, as well as House and Senate leadership. Again, it just shows solidarity with the other communities and stressing the importance of LGA at the level that it's at now. Everything's been budgeted. If they reduce it, it throws things into disarray a lot. I think that happened to you guys a number of years ago. So anyway, yeah, no, we don't want that happening again. So
Did it differently.
So that's why we want to make sure pass this resolution of support.
For resolution 2021-04, paying LGA.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. 8G, work session for 6 PM Thursday, March 11th. Mr. Bryan.
Yeah, we've been talking about having a work session to look at the project list. And staff has been working hard to get that project list in order, priority order, and potential funding for those projects. And we'd like to have a special session to discuss that, and also to discuss 2022 sewer rates and how they're tracking if we lose the DFA, if they get their own discharge permit. So we just want to take some time to talk about that and the ramifications and what we might want to do with that. So it might get to be a little bit longer meeting. So we thought that not having it before a council meeting might be better. We could have a little bit longer time. I had put down 6 PM on Thursday, March 11th, which is the off week, the in-between week between council meetings. But whatever day and whatever time works for everybody is fine with me or fine with staff.
That work for everybody? I think we kind of talked it. I think it kind of does. So I just need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Brian. 8 Dollar Tree Family Dollar cigarette license.
Yep, Family Dollar, Dollar Tree opened up and they had forgotten to send in their license material. So they did that very quickly. And Miranda got it going. And paperwork's in the packet, so we're just looking for approval of this cigarette license.
Don't they know smoking's bad for you?
I'll make the motion to approve their Family Tree tobacco license.
A second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Brian. Again, 8I. Well, number 5, rehab, Mr. Olson.
I got the numbers back, just a little history, probably for Bob anyway. We presented, every other year we pull a well in town, one of our 3 wells. In November, I got a bid tab and bid it out to, there was 2 bidders on it. One was Burgess and Caswell, the other was Trout Companies. And the difference in those bids were $29,000 roughly. So Ferguson got the bid on that. And then they go take it back to the shop and they give us, we bid it on the first 3 line items, and then they take it down and take it back to the shop. And they gave us the price back after inspections of everything for total project cost of $26,175 for the well. The last time we pulled a well in 18 was $26,000 total is what we pulled it for last time. So the costs are always right in pretty line. We're always happy with Burgess and Caswell, the job that they do. And it's really an important to stay on top of the wells for the city. It's a good program.
We've used this company before, Mike?
Yeah, it's ever since I've been here, they've always gotten the bid.
How long is that well down when they do that?
Hopefully they have it back by April is what we're hoping.
Already?
They pulled it based on that first,
Okay.
the first bid that we had in November for it. Then once they get it tore apart and take a look at all the equipment in there, what they need to replace, and they give us a quote back.
Any more questions?
I know where the money's coming from.
Water. Thank you.
Motion to approve? Opposed, passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Mike. Let's do reports. Kim?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Mike?
I guess I'll just comment on the meeting last night. I thought it was a very good meeting. And there's a lot of information, and I think there's a lot of things to discuss yet. And look forward to those discussions with council and stuff and the next steps. But want to give a big thank you to the city of Pine Island for hosting it. And then, as always, everybody that's been committed to this since we started back in August, I think it was. There've been a lot of people involved and a lot of time spent on it. So just a big shout out and thank you to everybody for that. That's all I have.
Thanks, Mike.
That and give a big shout out to Mike, because he is the one who's really pulled all of these communities together and all of these individuals together and all of these minutes and all of these meetings, and has really done a good job to make what could be a very tumultuous project presented extremely well last night, I thought. So everybody did a really great job. So kudos to you, Mike, for all of your work on this.
Please.
Nothing to
I
add.
was waiting for you to come all the way up to there.
Ryan?
I'd like to make everybody aware that the Dollar Tree, Family Dollar has had their soft opening, so they are opening for business.
Next one. No.
Matt? No report. Mr. James Hill?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Brian?
Yes, I would not to hammer on the sanitary district, but I had also written down, big thank you to Mike for driving this whole thing this whole time. It's a big group and the meetings always go well. Last night was no exception. It went really well. Pine Island did a great job. All the speakers did a wonderful job. We even had a representative from Angie Craig's office or her staff involved in the meeting, and they expressed interest in assisting us with federal funding and applications for that. So I did get a call from Mazeppa late this afternoon. They had to pull out. Their needs are immediate, and this is a 5 to 7 year deal. So they had to move on from the group, but we've still got the 4 communities involved, and from what I've heard, everybody is still very interested. So we'll have more information as we keep going on it. Update on the Jefferson project. We just met with Ellers again and our bond attorney. We are projecting a bond sale on April 22nd with closing around May 13th, and the funds will be available after that. Believe it'll be $3.2 million after whatever fees they put in there. We have to show the full 3 million matching for the state. So that one is moving forward. It's going to start moving much more quickly here real soon. And we're saddened to say that our community development director, Ryan Sukup, has submitted his resignation. He's accepted a wonderful opportunity with full-time opportunity with the military. So congratulations to Ryan. We're going to miss you. We wish you the best. We've been working with CETA already to find a replacement. So we want to get somebody in here. Ryan will be around till middle to end of March. We want to get someone in here in a couple of weeks, preferably, or shortly after that to work with Ryan for a little while. Some of his duties are a little bit unique for an EDA type position as far as the planning and zoning. There's a lot of that. So you'll either be finding someone with those expertise as well as EDA again, or a lot of training from Ryan before his last day. So we appreciate the time we've had with you, and good luck in your future endeavor. We're looking for a speech, or no, I'm kidding.
Later.
Different meeting.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brian. I have nothing. Council Hochsteiger?
Congratulations and thank you for your service. Appreciate that. And I think that's all I have. Really good job last night, Mike.
Thank you for your service and good luck. I have nothing either.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Meeting's adjourned.